original.
Hello, and this is Web Crawlers. We are now doing our Weird Thing in the Week in a separate mini episode.
Congrats.
Congrats to all of us that you can enjoy anytime. Maybe you're working out, taking a walk.
And you just want like a quick, not a full episode. You don't have time for that.
Yeah, just a quick mini-sode.
Quick couple of gals chatting about stuff.
Exactly. Melissa, we both are going to tell a weird thing that actually happened to us.
Yes.
Melissa, tell us your insane story.
Okay, so I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yes.
A very gruesome murder happened back in 2004, and it's with someone who I knew from high school.
This is fucking
who
insane.
Killed a friend of mine. Huh?
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
She told me this like casually over text.
Well, because Allie was sending me screenshots of prisoners she was thinking of writing to, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this guy I know from my high school killed my friend is on that list.
And I was like,
you're
excuse me?
Excuse me?
Okay, get into it.
Okay.
Okay, so this guy named Travis Lane, he was my friend's boyfriend. He got up to go to work one morning, but he never made it there. He was like 20, I think he was like 21 at the time.
Oh my God.
And so he was like a really good employee. So this was very unusual for him to not show up. And his parents were super concerned. So they called the police like later that day. And then a few days had passed and no one had heard from him. And about a week after he went missing, there were, in this part of Kalamazoo, it's like kind of a busy part. It's these cross streets called Westnedge and Whites Road. There's like an apartment complex. There's like a snowbank where kids would play and like go sledding. And there was like a lot of snow at the time. The kids apparently were sledding and they found something. They found a dismembered body.
Oh my God.
In the snow. But the head and the hands were removed.
Holy
This was like
shit.
a week after Travis went missing. So the police issued the statement to the killer, which at the time everyone thought was kind of odd. They said, the police said, "You have removed something that is very upsetting to the family. Contact us and tell us where it is." And everyone was like, what does that mean? But obviously, like, they were talking about his head. It was like a weird statement at the time. Like, you've removed something weird.
Probably because they wanted the real killer to step forward. They didn't want any fake people or
it was
something.
a weird thing. But eventually they identified the body and it was Travis's.
Holy shit.
And they found a fingerprint on a bank receipt that led them to the suspect, this guy named Jeremy Russell, who was like this real piece of shit, went to my high school.
Oh my God.
Was constantly just like breaking into people's cars during lunchtime and like stealing their CDs. And
Holy shit.
was just never went to school, was always like getting into fights and was doing drugs. He was just like a real piece of shit. And apparently he emptied Travis's bank account that morning.
Oh my God.
And he was also on probation for home invasion. He had domestic violence charges against him. He was like 21, I think, at the time.
Holy shit.
And so Travis's Jeep was also missing. And so the police were searching for that. And then eventually they tracked it to Jacksonville, Florida. So apparently Jeremy, he drove the Jeep to Florida and he sold it. Because the police contacted the person who was like, oh, I just bought this Jeep. I don't know.
Oh
and
my
they're
God.
like, we need to confiscate that. So like they transferred the Jeep back to Kalamazoo. And then he'd also been using Travis's credit cards.
So dumb.
Yeah, because he apparently was stealing his identity, apparently, because they did look alike. He could have passed for him.
That's so terrifying.
Yeah. Like they were same age, same build, same hair color. Like you wouldn't look twice. Like they were like very similar looking. And so the police found out that Jeremy had worked for this travel company that was based out of Aruba or something he worked for them or he knew them or like something. And so they were like, oh, we bet he's headed to Aruba.
Yeah.
Because he was in Florida. And so they alerted the Aruba police. And then the Aruba police, they printed his picture on the front page of like one of their big newspapers.
Yeah.
And a police officer spotted him within hours. He was on the beach. He was under a tree and he was smoking weed. He was like with someone.
Stop it. Just like chilling.
Just chilling on the beach, smoking weed. Apparently, when the police went up to him, he said something like, "Oh, I'm a dead man now." And so they arrested him for the marijuana. And then then they eventually extradited him back to Kalamazoo. And then the police, they finally located Travis's head and hands, which ended up being in the snowbank, like near the snow. Like when the snow thawed, they found his head. And then they found out that he died from a gunshot to the head.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so Jeremy was convicted of murder. And he tried to claim self-defense, but like,
yeah, right.
What do you don't chop up
empty their bank account and sell their car. Oh my God.
And so he's sentenced to life, obviously without parole. What's crazy is that my best friend in high school, her dad's girlfriend was working for the defense attorney at the time. And so she had to like go buy him clothes from like Kmart so he looked nice in court, and like she was working. It was so like everybody knew him. It was so fucking like for 3 weeks this went on.
Defending someone you know is guilty must be such a weird phenomenon.
Yeah, being a public defender is such a weird job.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I mean, you're just trying to give them all of their rights and whatever, and like that's your job, but yeah, and he's in prison in, I think, Jackson, Michigan, which is like between Kalamazoo and Detroit.
Jesus
But he's
Christ.
still there in prison.
That's crazy.
But like he would come over. I remember my sister used to have parties at her house, and like he would come over and like break shit and just get drunk and like try to get into fights with people. And we're like, get out of here, Jeremy. Like he was just a real piece of shit.
Holy, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like every week I'm like, what story do you have?
I don't know. I gotta write a book.
Seriously.
Write a book of all the weird shit that's happened. I'm sure there's just more.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. My story's...
Oh yeah, what's your hometown?
I mean, mine's like crazy, but not even... I'm not going to do it any justice.
Is this a Palisades story?
It is a Palisades story.
Oh my God. You know, Allie and I grew up in the same
We grew up in the same town.
Right. How close to each other did you
I was in the
live?
Highlands.
I was in the, I was down on, off Ocampo, Sunset and Ocampo, right by Corpus Christi, the
It's
church.
like 5-10 minutes from each other.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So growing up, my parents...
Soulmates.
Soulmates.
You're finally
No
here.
idea.
destined for each other. So growing up, my parents were repainting their house. And so we had like a painting crew there every day. And there was this one painter after like the crew would go who would stay really late every day.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, hey, I don't want to go home yet. Like, is it okay if I like stay here? I'll keep working. And my dad was off at work and my mom and I were just there. And we were like, okay. Like it was a little weird, but he was super, super nice and friendly. Like was never bizarre to us. He was always like really kind. I remember he taught me how to hula hoop and he would like teach me how to jump rope.
Sounds like a nice guy.
He was really, really
How
nice.
old were you where you didn't know how to do these things?
How do you not know how to
21.
last week?
Yesterday. Anyways.
I can just imagine you in the backyard, him painting, and him finally being like, do you want me to show you?
literally. I was probably like 7.
All right, come here.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And so then anyways, one day he just disappeared. He just stopped coming to the job. And my mom finally asked, she was like, what's his name? And the guy was like, I don't know. He just stopped showing up.
Weird.
Then one day my grandma calls my mom and she's like, turn on the television.
Oh, that's never a good call.
Yeah.
Turn
turns
on the TV.
It turns out he got arrested. He was on the news. He got arrested. He was a serial killer who was killing sex workers.
What the fuck?
So after work, he would stay late. Then he would leave my house. And then he would go and like pick up sex workers and murder them.
Like while he was working at your house.
Yeah, during that time. So then he would like kill sex workers at night and then
Come back and teach you to hula hoop.
come back and teach me to hula hoop.
And he probably liked your family because you guys were like just like a family living in suburbia.
He had a thing against sex workers.
Because his mom, I guess the story was that growing up, his mother was a sex worker. And so he and I feel like serial killers always have some mom thing.
Yep.
And so he would do that. And he really liked me and my mom because what we were saying, it was I think the family thing that he wanted to feel a part of a family. And my dad wasn't there. He probably had weird.
Yeah, he thought he was your dad.
Yeah. And so then
oh my God.
Finally he got caught. And I asked my mom, I was like, do you remember this guy's name? Do you remember anything about him? And she didn't remember anything. And I was like, this is unhelpful.
You don't know his name?
What year was it?
She didn't. It must have been 93, 94.
Huh.
I have to do more research.
Yeah,
to try
you
to
could
find
probably
it.
figure it out.
Yeah.
And narrow it down.
Yeah. So because she didn't remember his name.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, also my mom has met a murderer.
Right.
Did I ever tell this story?
No.
I don't remember. Also in Kalamazoo, my mom used to take my sister and I to dance and tap dance classes by Western Michigan, the college down there. And while she would wait outside for us, she would sit on the stairs, smoking a cigarette. And there was a guy who worked for Mrs. Weaver, who owned the dance school, and he would just rake the leaves and clean up around outside, and my mom would always talk to him. And then one day she saw on the news that guy murdered a girl who was jogging, a college student from Western who was jogging one night. He raped and murdered her. And my mom was like, I talked to this guy every weekend when I take you guys to dance class.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Do you have any experiences with murderers?
Do you know any murders, Maria?
No, I don't think so.
The other night after watching Love After Lockup, spent a lot of time on the prison pen pal site.
Yeah, what's that like?
I sent you guys pictures, and Maria was like, "What is this?" Because I had told Melissa what I was doing, but I forgot to tell Maria, and Maria was like, "What?" It was interesting.
I went through it and
their bios are really good.
Yeah, and you can see what their crimes are too.
Yes, you can go to their crimes. A lot of them aren't that bad.
No, it's a lot of invasion, robbery, break-in with a weapon, or
They
sound like Prince robbery with a deadly weapon, or
attempted murder,
home invasion.
Yeah, and a lot of them have 2 years in prison.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not. I mean, I feel like we could all end up at the clink for a few years. You never know where your life's gonna go.
Your bill, not paying your parking tickets.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's our weird thing of the week. Let us know how you feel about it being a separate mini episode that we release. If you're into it, not
and if you have any weird shit, if you know any murderers or whatever,
email us and we'll do that as our weird thing of the week.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for listening.
Bye.
An Erios original.
Powered by Acast.